All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Vince Duvall with Eagle Homes powered by eXp Realty. This is our first live session with myself, Brad Brewer, and then Adam Zeman. What we'll do is we'll just have a little introduction about each of us, and then we are going to go into some Q&A for anybody that joins us. Otherwise, we'll have a little fun with this. So a little bit about myself. I got into real estate fully a little less than a year ago. I did it about 12 years ago. Loved it. Got into it because I enjoyed, flipping houses, seeing the bones of a property and be like, holy cow, look at everything we can do with this. And then being able to help people get into a home that they fall in love with. And that's just a little bit of a passion of mine, along with a few other things. So just the natural excitement and sometimes disappointment when we walk in a home and the pictures show a house better than what it really is. It's kind of fun. And then 2 truths and a lie about me. I have 2 kids and a dog, married. I also was an Eagle Scout, or am an Eagle Scout. And then I played high school golf, volleyball, and basketball. So if you're following us, love to hear what you think the lie is on that. I'm going to let Brad introduce himself, and then Adam will go.
Do I have to tell truths and lies about myself?
Yeah, everybody does, man. Come on.
All right. Let's see. Brad Brewer, of course. Originally from Indiana. Been in real estate now over a decade. Real estate coach as well, which is fun. So I coach other agents around the country on hopefully how to be a top agent. And my favorite thing about real estate is it's ever changing. And there's lots of ways to, it's obviously a home where people can enjoy and live and spend time with family, but it's also an investment. So I kind of like all the aspects that are real estate. A couple of facts and potential lies about me. I love golf. That'd be a hard one to figure out. I was an all-star tennis player back in my day, and my AAU volleyball team placed 3rd in the state my senior year.
That's tricky. That's tricky. You might even stump me. Adam, go ahead.
All right. Adam Zeman, Adam Zeman Mortgage Team. I've been doing this. It seems I had to look back the other day and just kind of figure it out. It's been about 9 years. So I originally got into this business. I guess at the time I was going to college, and that was sort of when no one could get jobs. It was either graduate, go to graduate, go get a further degree, or go to law school. I took a focus in real estate, just kind of fell into this. I like helping people, so it sort of made sense. And the numbers, everybody thinks the numbers on mortgages are, crazy hard. It's not, when in comparison to going to school for finance, pretty easy. So yeah, that's kind of my short story on this. I was just trying to think of some lies and some truths, see how you guys are talking, and I'm like, wow, I don't know. So here, I've lived in Wisconsin my whole life. Played college football. And when I'm not working, you can catch me outside doing something. Love being outside. Love it.
Man, that's a tough one too. When do we get to guess?
All right, let's guess. Let's start with Adam because this is the most recent.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Adam did not play college football.
I did not.
I was gonna go with that one as well. So all right, because he strikes me as a guy who loves to hang outside and barbecue or by fire or just chilling. So
yeah. I love being outside. I think we have just such a short summer, so any chance I get, I'm doing something. Even if it's something stupid, I'm outside.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. You remember mine?
Yeah.
I'll need a refresher. I mean, the first one was a layup.
Yeah, that was easy. Adam, what do you think Brad's lie was?
I think the tennis was the lie. I don't know. I mean, you got two hard ones there, man. I just don't know. Like, you made it difficult for us.
Okay. Well, it's tennis your final call?
Tennis it is, for me at least.
What?
Man, I'm gonna go with the AAU volleyball because I know you were a tennis player. Just don't know how good you were.
Okay. The lie is actually, while I was a very good tennis player, and but I was only the number 3 on our high school team, so I was not an all-star tennis player. So that was the lie.
All right.
Good call, Adam.
So, all right, Vince. What were your 3? I can't remember.
So 2 kids, married, and a dog. I am an Eagle Scout, and then the third one was I played high school golf, volleyball, and basketball.
I know which one's a lie, so I'm gonna let Adam go.
Eagle Scout. I'm gonna go with you weren't an Eagle Scout. You seem like a guy that played a lot of sports, so I don't know. That's another tough one.
He was an Eagle Scout.
I am an Eagle Scout. Yes, yeah, I'm an Eagle Scout. I did not play high school golf. I played high school football, volleyball, and basketball.
I was kind of right. You played, a lot of sports. You
just
didn't play as many as you said.
It was kind of it was 2 out of 3. He lied on one thing, which was
right.
And I knew it because I knew he didn't play high school golf.
All right, so let's get into a little Q&A. I don't know if anybody joined the Zoom, but Adam, let's talk about mortgage rates today and how that's looking.
That is such a fun topic to talk about, especially nowadays. Everybody is pretty much the first question people ask when they come up to you, and they know that I do mortgages. And what I can say to start out with is it's very, very crazy to go from 3% to 5-6%, and it seemed like a matter of seconds. The beginning of this year we were at lower interest rates, and then all of a sudden it just went crazy. So I understand the freak out with people and how weird that is. I just want to say, still a 5.5 or 6% interest rate is not the worst thing in the world if you're purchasing a home.
Adam, let me interrupt real quick, Adam. I know you said you've been doing this a really long time. What's the highest interest rate you've seen?
So when I started was probably the highest. I think they were in the 7s somewhere, I want to say.
Okay.
And that was, kind of a normal rate, 6 or 7s. Certain people were even a little higher, to be honest with you. Yeah. Just depending on their FICO score or the program. So when I got in this, you kind of saw like the gradual decline in interest rates as the Fed kept on buying up, mortgage-backed securities, and tapering, making sure we weren't where we are right now, which is like a recession or, inflation. So yeah. Like
Hey, Adam.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam, I got another quiz for you, buddy.
Okay. All right.
Now, I'll be impressed if you get this, because this is going to go way back. So now I have the cheat sheet, so I know the answer. So going back all the way back to 1974 to today, what year was the highest average interest rate for a 30-year mortgage? And what was that interest rate? It's a 2-part question. I'll be impressed if you get even half of that.
Okay, so when I talk to people that are a little older, like my parents' age, and they talk about these like 12% interest rates back when I bought a house, they was, that kind of story.
Yeah.
So I want to say there was a time, and I think I'm gonna botch this, but there was a time maybe when I was a kid, maybe in the 80s, where they might have been the highest.
You're correct. You're in the right decade.
Okay. So based on what, the administration and what had happened, they went high. And I think the highest was like maybe 16%, something like that.
It is in the 16s.
Wow. So this is
job.
impressive.
1981, average interest rate for that year was 16.63%.
That's insane.
Right. And 1982 followed up shortly after that, 16.04. And then after that, it started dropping down in the 13, 12, 10 range, 10 to 13% range. So very well done. I'm impressed.
Wow.
I'm impressed.
I can't believe I got that. Yeah. I think it's because when you talk about rates, you're the mortgage guy, people always say, "Oh, I remember when it was this rate or whatever." I bought my first house at 10%. Um, so yeah, I think that's great perspective for everybody. Like 6% interest rate is if you take a 30-year running average, maybe 30, 40 years or 20 years, I think you're going to end at like probably 6%. I don't know.
I didn't do the math on it. I've got a chart here. It's got it dated back from 74 through 21.
Mhm.
And you see a lot between 6 and 8. So I figured it's somewhere between that 6 and 8% range, a lot in the 6 range, if you look at the chart. So if I was to take a guess, it's somewhere between that probably 6 to 7 even percent range.
So that's the average rate. And I think that the conversation I'm having with a lot of people is I really feel like they're going to, there'll be a refinance opportunity in a year or two. I mean, they're already kind of talking about that. They're starting the conversation at least. So yeah, you might be in the 6s but you might be able to get a little lower in a year or two. And I guess my thought is, if you can't afford the 6, maybe you look at some lower priced homes. I'm against doing ARMs right now. I know that certain institutions are selling those. I just don't think that that's the best idea, and that's kind of what got us into one of the things that got us into the '08 crisis was interest rates that readjusted from ARMs. So I know that might look good for some people and to have a lower interest rate, but just keep in your head, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. So they could go up. You could adjust to a higher interest rate. And I don't know about you guys, but I think the worst thing for me would be to see my mortgage payment go up $300-400. Like that can, for some families, that can really hurt them, to the point of even foreclosure. So I'm personally, I think there's very few times in this environment that you need to do an ARM. I think those are like, if for sure you're moving, like unequivocally, you're only here for employment, or you're going to be moving to Florida or whatever they may look like. That might be a smart play, but I think for the masses, that's just not a smart play. And some of these institutions are just like kind of preying on people. That's kind of my little thing on that. So another thing with rates right now is typically, just because of how volatile they've been, is you're going to have to do, like maybe pay a quarter to get that interest rate. It's kind of usually what it's looking like. And even more if you want to get a lower interest rate. So that's kind of my little blurb on rates. I don't know if you guys if you have any other questions or something you'd like me to go over.
Yeah, let me ask a quick question, Adam. So when you say pay a quarter or a little more to get the lower interest rate, do we see that somebody that is going to be in a home for, 5 years or so, paying those points is beneficial to them? Is that over time it ends up being a huge savings, correct?
Yeah. So that's one of the questions I ask people is like, how long do you realistically plan on being in the house for? Again, you don't know, no one really knows the future, but yeah, you gotta look at your break-even point. So let's just say you bring up points, which is 1% to the loan amount, and let's just say that's $2,500. Your loan amount's $250, and it reduced your payment by $80 a month. Well, 80 times 12 will give you how much money you saved. So the simple math, their break-even point is about 2 years, a little over 2 years, about 2.5 years. So if you're going to be in the house for long enough, you have the cash, then you need to look at where that point is, where you're gaining and not losing. I would say for most people, it's a win.
Okay.
Vast majority of people, it's a win.
Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome.
Another question for you, quick, Adam. And I did a little quick math while you were answering those questions. It's 50-year mortgage average interest rates right about just a little over 7%.
Okay, so we're still below that.
So for someone right now, like you're saying, like we could have some chances next few years from where interest rates are now that they will go down again. Could be a refinance opportunity. Yes. What percentage drop? Like if interest rates go down 0.5 point or 0.75 point, when is it a good idea to call your mortgage broker or your agent to get referred to your broker to ask, hey, is this a right time to refinance?
I mean, for me, I'm touching everybody at least once a year to make sure they're in the right interest rate. But if you're just calling on somebody, or you're calling your mortgage person or your real estate agent,
Mhm.
the rule is a half or more.
Okay.
But that's just for like a typical rate reduction. So there's other reasons to do a refinance. Maybe you were in an FHA mortgage, and then now you have some equity, and you might be able to refinance out of an FHA and then maybe get rid of your mortgage insurance. So there's more than one reason to refinance where it makes sense. You just kind of have to run the numbers.
Okay.
I think right now too, probably I'm guessing next year is what's going to become a little bit more popular is maybe a cash out refinance, given that people I think have maybe spent a lot and their credit cards might be higher. So for those, you look at, okay, well, you have a ton of value in your home, and let's just say your credit cards, typically 25-30% interest rates. Well, to get to take that and then put everything into a 6% interest rate, that might be beneficial for a lot of people. So
Okay.
I think that's coming next, just from the spending patterns, and then watching like CNBC and looking at some of these indexes about credit card debt and spending habits and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And the fact that these values are still really high.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great information, Adam. Thanks, man. One of the things I wanted to talk about today, guys, was renting versus owning. We're seeing a lot of first-time home buyers. We've done some first-time home buyer webinars, and people that are really looking at renting versus owning nowadays. And I don't think people understand that the average cost to rent in Southeast Wisconsin, and not even including, we're so close to Illinois, not even including the Illinois border, the average cost to rent is $1,200 a month. I mean, for $1,200 a month, you could probably, Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, 4% interest rate, principal and interest, or not 4% interest rate, sorry, 4% down at, the average interest rate of even 5.75 or 6%. Their mortgage rate's probably with interest and principal, $1,200 a month. Now they can own something. Does that sound pretty right?
Yeah, I would say that sounds right. And you're looking at, maybe if they qualify for, their income is typically less than $62,000, usually like 3% down. Yeah, I think that's right. And I actually think 1,200 is probably conservative for rents. I mean, I'm seeing a lot higher,
Oh, yeah.
If you have a family and you want a garage, I mean, you're looking at $2,500, to rent something good. So although 1,200 might be the average, depends on what you're renting.
Right. Yeah. It depends on if you want, just a 2-bedroom apartment, or if you're looking for a single family home for your whole family. It makes a huge difference on what you're looking at. And areas. So I'm looking at Kenosha, Racine, Walworth County. So a little more, probably a little lower income than if I get up towards Milwaukee area. And there, Milwaukee's average income is almost $1,400 a month. And that probably goes into, more of those apartment type buildings, maybe something that doesn't have, amenities or a great location, is going to be a little bit higher. But, talking about the perks of owning, a lot of people don't realize, like, there's a pride of ownership, right? When you own something versus renting. I know when I rented it, like, I got to a point where I was like, I spilled a little bit. That's, the carpet's getting bad. That's not going to be my problem in 6 months. It's going to be the landlord's problem once I move out, right? So owning, you have a little bit of pride of ownership, and then you get the benefits of writing off your taxes, interest paid, things like that. And people don't necessarily look at the benefits of owning. And then building equity. I mean, the typical growth on a property is 3 to 5% every year. The last couple of years has been a lot higher. We've had a huge increase in the market and what homes value. But typically we're looking at 3 to 5% year over year. So people are getting equity in homes, and they just don't quite understand that. And I think there's an opportunity for first-time home buyers, even at 6%, to get into something, $200,000 or less in certain areas, and start building their own equity and their own value and take pride in their own home. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there for us still to capture first-time home buyers out there.
Yeah, I think if you really do the numbers too, I think if you really sit down with a piece of paper and a calculator and you start looking at how much money you throw away on rent, and then that money that appreciates in that 3 to 5% range, which is still probably going to be a little higher the next year or two. I think if people really see that number, it's staggering. It's like, okay, well, in 5 years, I have maybe $20,000 in equity, where I rented, I have absolutely nothing, and I'm dealing with a landlord that probably sucks. In neighbors that, you know, who knows? You never know what that looks like. So,
right.
So really looking at those numbers is huge when you sit down and put it on a piece of paper, and you're like, wow, okay, I could have this versus this for basically the same payment, you know?
Yeah. Well, and you know, some people are like, well, I don't like to take care of my lawn, or I don't want to have to worry about, you know, parking out on the street. Well, you know, then you can look at condos or duplexes, things like that, where lawn care is probably already taken care of for you, and so forth. So I think there's opportunity out there for people if they just, you know, have the conversation and run the numbers, you know, with someone like yourself or Brad or I can, you know, help them break it down and show them what it looks like on paper. They can really find their value in owning a home today, you know. And I think the 6% has really been scaring everybody. And that's why I wanted to talk about, you know, what's the highest mortgage rate you've seen? What's the average interest rate? So Brad, thanks for bringing that up. That was kind of eye-opening that we're still below the average since 70, what was it, 74, Brad, or 70?
74.
74. Yeah. So I think it's pretty eye-opening. You know, so, you know, Brad, talk a little bit about the housing market. What's it doing? Where's it going? Is it still a good time to be a buyer, seller? What are we looking at?
Actually, we're starting to see, depending on the markets, we're starting to see a little bit of balancing out. If you look from a nationwide perspective, all the forecasting gurus of real estate are still predicting, you know, I don't think we're leaving a seller's market. You know, we've been in that seller's market, but I think we're starting to see a shift, especially in certain price points, away from what was the extreme seller's market. You know, you were hearing things like you couldn't ask for inspections, you couldn't ask for this, you couldn't negotiate, there's multiple offers on everything. Well, we're seeing a little bit of a calming down in that, which is good for the buyers.
Right.
But it's also a great time still for sellers to still get that great value, especially those that have lived in their home for 3, 4, 5, 6+ years. You know, I'd say you're still even up maybe from a couple of years ago if you've only had it for 2 years. So I think we're kind of finding a little bit more now of that balance especially in certain price points. I don't have the exact figures yet. I'm kind of waiting for some data to come out, but it seems like we've got more listings and stuff like that. I'm going to be looking at that data here over the next 30 days as it gets released from the prior months. But I think we're going to see if there's more listings, less multiple offers and things like that we're going to see. I did get some data from a real estate buddy of mine down in Louisiana. You know, again, another hot market. Over a 60-day period, they had a 50% increase in listings. So for you buyers that are out there that see this video, you know, if last year, the year before, you put things on pause, now's a great time to get a hold of us, because obviously Adam's talked about ways that, hey, 6%, still a great rate, and you got a nice opportunity right now to get in a home, and there does not seem to be a projected decrease in value, which would be critical. So that means even if you're buying today, 2, 3, 4, 5 years now, you should still be in a positive equity situation based on what the market's supposed to do. And then we've got some things in Wisconsin specifically that I think are going to be really good for us for years to come. I hate to pick on our neighbors to the south, but they've been now for a decade somewhere in the top 5 of states most moved out of. Well, Wisconsin, depending on which poll you look at, but 6th to 8th as far as best states to overall live in. So that means not only from Illinois, but from other states around the country that you're hearing people are moving out of. If they're doing their research, Wisconsin is going to be a great opportunity for people to move into. So I think it's it's a great market for sellers. It's a great market for buyers. I think we're going to be in that ballpark for several years. And even if we go into a recession, let's call out the elephant in the room. Historically, even during most recessions, real estate values still appreciate. So I think we're looking really good. And I think Wisconsin's a great place to be right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, kind of, Brad, I do a weekly real estate update, you know, for Kenosha, Walworth, and Racine counties, and just kind of touch on what you were saying. This is the first time in probably the last 3 or 4 months I've seen the sold price of a listed property to be less than list price on average. It was like 3.5% or something. It was crazy. It's the first time I've seen that we're actually getting the sold price below list price. Before, it was 3% higher than list price.
Yeah.
Also, you know, talking about inventory, the last few weeks, you know, we're seeing almost 2 to 1 on listed versus sold. So that's good. We're definitely seeing an increase in inventory. I don't know what the overall number is. But yeah, I think we're starting to see more inventory out there, more opportunities for buyers, which, you know, kind of touching on that a little bit from a buyer standpoint, you know, you're not necessarily forced to go look at that house as soon as it comes out. You know, homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer and giving people opportunities to shop and not jump at something that may not be their perfect fit for them.
Absolutely. Or heaven forbid, we can actually, if your buyer wants to say, well, I'd like to go home and sleep on it. Okay, go ahead.
Right.
I mean, there was a time we were like, sorry, you can't.
Yeah.
You know, and that was I know that was frustrating for a lot of buyers. So I really do believe that if you're a buyer now, it's not, I think you're still seeing some of the, you know, around the 200,000. I'm not sure what the exact number is, but in that market, we are definitely seeing very competitive, still multiple offers in a lot of situations and stuff, but not in every situation. So it's really a great time to sit with your agents and get some of that consultation down. Talk to your mortgage provider. What's the best rate? What's the best way to attack and get the best mortgage and get yourself in a home? It really is a good time.
Yeah. No,
I like to, you know, one thing too is I'm seeing a lot more like FHA. You know, people get accepted offers now versus last year at the same time. And why I bring that up is, well, certain people might have an opportunity to give you a call like, hey, this is what I have. Like, let's, you know, now let's jump back into it. And for someone that has maybe a 660 credit score, you know, an FHA product might be cheaper than a conventional with the interest rates and mortgage insurance. So that might be a better way for them to go, even if they can qualify for the conventional. I see someone save like, you know, $150 going that way. So, you know, a year ago, you couldn't even have those conversations whereas now you can, and you can start thinking about what's best for the consumer and what the true best product is for these people. And secondly, I don't know what you guys are seeing, but it just seems like in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I'm seeing a lot more, you know, signs out for sale, like significantly more. So I'm pretty excited about this market, and I think everybody should be.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely an opportunity for everyone now, you know, buyers and sellers, you know, us as, you know, realtors and lenders. It gives us the opportunity to really do what's right for our clients and customers, because before, you know, not saying we never did what was right, but, you know, like Brad said, now people can go home and sleep on it and not jump at something that is, you know, that they think is the perfect thing. And then, you know, they're 2 days later going, man, I really wish that bathroom had a double vanity in it. I only bring that up because my house does not have a double vanity and it annoys me. Sounds simple. Adam, what is the time? How long does it take from, and how quickly can you close a deal? I guess is my question. Are we looking at, you know, 20 days, 30 days, 45 days? How quickly are we looking at closing deals right now?
So ideally, it's just like a 30-day or less contract. If we need to, we'll close in 2 weeks. And that just usually comes down to how quickly I can get the appraisal in. Usually we have, you know, a credit approval or full approval on loans. Things are a little slower. I have 3 loans that are approved over 2 weeks in advance. Like, I'm not closing for 2 weeks. So if that tells you something, like, obviously, you know, we're pretty good, but also, you know, it's a good thing to have your full loan approved and have your numbers, and now you're just sitting for a week and a half waiting to close. You don't like that. That takes a lot of the angst out of the whole situation. I don't know what other lenders are doing. I can't speak to them, but yeah, I think ideally I like a 30-day contract. I know what if you have a home sale contingency that might be a little longer, but just seems to flow better. But very, very much so. If you need something quick just to win the deal or whatever it might be, we can work with you. We'll make it happen.
Awesome. Well, guys, weren't sure how this was going to go today, being our first one. And it looks like we're right at 30 minutes. I don't know if anybody's on the Zoom or on our Facebook page, but yeah, Adam, go ahead and put your web link in the chat in the Facebook comments. I don't know if you're on Facebook or you can add it later.
We can add it later. I went and put real quick for everybody. I put our Eagle Homes YouTube channel link in the comments on the Facebook post, which will have this video. Which I know Vince does an awesome job of doing a lot of weekly market updates for the area. So, and then we've got a lot of other tips and stuff like that type of videos on that link. And then I also put our phone number and our email address if you have questions or if you want to set up a consultation. Consultation is only free. Anytime you want it, we're there for you to chat and kind of discuss, different real estate options and goals that you might have. So Adam, you can go on and add it later, but make sure you put your website or whatever links you want people to access.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect.
Awesome. Hey, I think we can wrap this up. I think next week we'll be doing this on a weekly basis, guys. And we can try to keep it to about 30 minutes or so. And then come back weekly to kind of get more information on real estate, fun facts about what the market's doing. We'll have different subjects each week that we'll touch on. Just kind of give a little more information because, one of the things I believe in is information is power. And the more informed you are as a buyer, a seller, someone that's borrowing money, the better off you'll be to make the right decision. And this is a life-changing event for a lot of people. Maybe buying their first home, their second home, investment property. Having information and being informed is a huge step in the right direction. So reach out to us. Love to help you. Adam as well. Adam will add his information, but thank you everyone for joining us today and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks everybody.